Thank you, Madam President. It's my great privilege to present SCR 130, which will commemorate April 18th, 2024, as CASA Appreciation Day in the state of California. Court-appointed special advocates, or CASA volunteers, or CASAs as they are called, act as champions for the rights and well-being of children within the foster system. These generous and caring advocates play a very important role for children in foster care as they navigate the complex and sometimes overwhelming juvenile court system. California's foster care system currently supports over 70,000 children, many of whom have experienced abuse, neglect, or abandonment. CASAs may start as everyday people who answer the call to assist a child in foster care, but once trained and appointed by judges, they serve as advocates to ensure that in the midst of the labyrinthine and often chaotic world of the foster system, the voices and unique perspectives of the children themselves will be heard and considered. In 2022, more than 8,600 dedicated CASA volunteers served more than 12,000 California foster children, donating a cumulative total of over 400,000 hours of their collective time. These dedicated individuals undergo extensive training to understand the child welfare system, court procedures, and the specific needs of young people in foster care. They cultivate relationships with their foster children, becoming familiar with their families and caregivers, recognizing their circumstances, and serving as powerful advocates for the children's best interests. A CASA is often the only consistent supportive adult in a foster child's life, providing constancy and encouragement simply by listening, offering encouragement and guidance, and providing vital reassurance. They work compassionately and relentlessly at ensuring that all children can have safe, loving homes and a system that safeguards their needs. My wife and I both had the privilege of serving as CASAs and have seen the power of this unique brand of advocacy firsthand. Our experiences as CASA volunteers gave us a better understanding of the challenges and complexities foster children face and how critical it is to have an adult to advise them, guide them, and champion their rights. I'm very certain that I'm a better legislator as well as a better person as a result of that experience, even if my wife was definitely a better CASA than I was. Colleagues, CASA volunteers and the CASA programs across the state who recruit and support them exemplify the ideal of the Good Samaritan and what it means to assist and elevate some of the most vulnerable members of our society. Please join me in recognizing the invaluable contributions of court-appointed special advocates by designating April 18, 2024 as CASA Appreciation Day. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Senator Ashby, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank the senator from Fullerton for bringing forward this today. And, you know, often when we talk about these issues, I think about my dad, who was the head of foster care for the state of California for so many years. And he used to say this often: the only thing that a child needs to change their life is one caring adult. And for those of us who've worked in this system for a long time or have been in courts and worked alongside CASA volunteers, we know that very often that caring adult for one young foster youth was a member of the CASA team, somebody who volunteered to walk through the very difficult parts of the court system with this young person. So I wanted to rise today in support of the resolution and thank the senator from Fullerton.
Senator Wahab, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just want to say I again appreciate my colleague for bringing this forward. It's incredibly important. As a person who grew up in the foster care system, genuinely, there's not enough advocates for folks. And I think CASA in particular allows for youth to have a mentor. And regardless of their placement, that mentor usually sticks with them as much as possible. And, you know, CASA in particular allows for the CASA individual to be able to tell the youth, you know, like, here are your opportunities. It's an extra support system that is very much needed, should be well funded, and should move forward and expand. And I think that we don't often realize how often foster youth really do fall through the cracks. It is a broken system. It has been broken for decades. It is a failure on the government's part, and I'm personally speaking from this point. And it's really, really sad to see the statistics about foster youth on a government-backed program where the youth are in this system at no fault of their own. They are youth, and we deserve to give them every single opportunity that they can have, including additional people that can just keep eyes on them and take care of them and see if they can help in any way they can. So I really do appreciate the resolution, and I respectfully ask for an aye as well.
Senator Grove, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I too rise in support of SCR 130. got involved in CASA probably 10 years ago because I went to a CASA event that we have in our district where you can take a child's name off the wall and you can buy a gift that's listed so they actually get a real gift. It was a cottage house for CASA. And this girl comes in and she's pulling all these things off the wall. And again, looking at this person, I thought, there's no way she has the money to buy all those gifts. And so I got a little nervous. And the CASA people were nervous too. And we walked over and we said hi and we introduced ourselves. And she said, we got to know her, and she's a waitress at a restaurant in town. And she was telling us that she saves all of her tips. She lives very cheaply, and she saves all of her tips because when she was in foster youth, this was the only gift she ever got. And when she was in foster care, this was the only gift she ever got. And so Sarah and I became quick friends. We worked on legislation in the assembly before. And I have to tell you this, you know, I've never, like my colleague that just spoke, she was in the foster care system, so nobody can experience, her lived experience is different than all of us. But I remember taking Sarah to a Rotary Club, and we were trying to get her involved in the community so that she could share her story. And this lady comes up to her and she goes, do you remember me? Sarah starts crying, and she said the code word was flubber. The code word was flubber. And then I have these two grown women just crying in front of me. Sarah was placed in a foster family house where abuse was taking place, and when they checked on her, the CASA checked on her in person, it was like a bed of roses and cookies and cream, right? But when the CASA would leave, there would be detrimental treatment to Sarah. And so she walked in and she goes, hey, are you watching TV? And she goes, we watched Flubber. And the foster mom looked at her like, we didn't watch Flubber, and everybody got it, and they got Sarah out of there. And when they got Sarah out of there, her little brother was in a cage in the garage when they were in that. So I agree with my colleague. We have a lot of work to do on the foster care system. These individuals are wards of the state of California. It is not their fault they're in this situation. It's because of something their parents have done to put them in this situation. I would love to see legislation on categorical spending, so if you're a foster care person, you're not going to get rich off this kid, and they're not going to emancipate with a pillowcase full of stuff. They should have money in a bank account for a car. They should have money in a bank account for education, because some of these people get thousands of dollars a month, and it doesn't cost thousands of dollars a month to feed and house a child. So I respectfully ask for an aye vote and think that there's a lot more work to do on this. And just on a side note, because I'm still really frankly upset about Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever that took place, because my days are running together. We abandoned our foster care, specifically our 16 and 17-year-olds, in a committee the other day that says...
Senator, if you could stick to the merit of this resolution, please.
Absolutely. The 16 and 17-year-olds in the foster care system are still going to be on a street with a misdemeanor. Respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Senator Girazzo, you're recognized.
Thank you. I became aware of CASA through a visit I did to Children's Court in Los Angeles, and then became introduced to the organization. And then in our budget subcommittee, worked with Senator Newman on getting the funding. But the funding was just to maintain the structure, the infrastructure needed for volunteers to be able to submit their, put in their time. The CASA volunteers put in extraordinary number of hours to be trained, to spend with the youth, and I've just been so impressed as just an extraordinary organization, and I want to thank all of the CASA volunteers and Senator Newman for raising the issue. Thank you.
Senator Newman, would you like to close?
Yes, so thank you to all of my colleagues for your words from different perspectives, but all making essentially the same point. The foster care system is challenged, but the silver lining within that system are the wonderful volunteers from CASA and the folks who support them. We should be grateful. We should support their efforts, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote on this resolution today.
Thank you so much, colleagues. This item is also eligible for unanimous roll call. Any objection to utilizing the unanimous roll call? See none. Ayes 39, no 0. This resolution is adopted. Thank you, Senator. We have one final presentation. Just kidding.
Introductions.
Senator Newman, you may proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. And with us this morning to celebrate CASA Appreciation Day are a few of the wonderful people who do the important work every day of organizing CASA volunteers and ensuring that they have the training, tools, and support they need to serve and succeed in this essential role. Joining us on the Senate floor today are Sharon Lawrence, Reagan Phillips and her son Connor, Catherine Matthews, and Andy Jacobson. Sharon Lawrence is the CEO of California CASA and a passionate advocate for foster youth and improving the foster care system with a background in law and proven success leading voices for children for over 20 years. Sharon brings a wealth of experience and a commitment to advocating for the well-being of foster children across the state. Reagan Phillips, who is joined today by her son Connor, is the CEO of CASA of Orange County. She began advocating for children in foster care starting with a CASA internship in New York and continuing throughout her time in law school. After doing work as an attorney representing children in foster care, she expanded that commitment by joining the CASA of OC Board of Directors, becoming CASA OC's Chief Program Officer, and ultimately ascending to lead the organization as its Chief Executive Officer. Her son Connor is in 3rd grade and wants to be a baseball player when he grows up. Catherine Matthews has been the Chief Program Officer for California CASA since 2021. She began volunteering as a CASA in 2001 and later transitioned from the corporate world to the nonprofit world, joining CASA of Placer County as Program Director in 2007. With nearly 2 decades of dedication, she has streamlined operations, expanded service, and introduced innovative new training approaches. Andy Jacobson is an advocate supervisor for CASA of Orange County. Andy has a Master of Social Work degree from UCLA and has been a case supervisor since 2005. Andy has dedicated her professional career to empowering and supporting vulnerable children in the foster care system. During my time as a CASA, Andy was actually my case supervisor, and she can personally attest to the fact that my wife was a much better CASA than I was. Please join me in celebrating CASA Appreciation Day and thanking our guests for their essential work in the foster youth system by giving Sharon, Reagan, Catherine, and Andy a warm California Senate welcome.
Welcome, CASA Association. Senator Newman will take that first photo with him and his special guest only. Perfect.